Hello there, my good, faithful YouTube viewers and listeners. It is the Jerry Bear. Today's date is, I almost said Sunday. It's Thursday, December 17th, 2020. It's a force of habit, you know. So many years of doing the Sunday video update, I almost slipped and said Sunday. No, today's Thursday. I hope you guys are doing okay. There's actually a couple of subjects I wanted to talk about in today's daily rant. One of those subjects being a shirt tail from yesterday's daily rant discussion, where I really said a lot of wow. I was on fire in yesterday's daily rant. I said a lot of things, and I went all out. And you know, I had my reasons. I was angry and frustrated, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the subject I'd like to discuss now is a subject that I've actually never brought up in any daily rant whatsoever. I don't even think I mentioned it in a Sunday video update. So I'm going to introduce this new topic to the daily rant. It's about people who don't have kids, as I myself don't have children. Now, it's not so much the fact that I may not want children. It's not a decision kind of a thing for me, because I had cancer as a child, and the treatment had it may have potentially obliterated my chances of ever procreating, which is totally fine. I'm totally cool with that. But so for me, it really wasn't it's not a matter of choosing to have kids or not have kids. I mean, I'd be cool with either situation. You know, I know how to kind of balance things out. But I was sitting here last night. Actually, I was laying in bed, and I was kind of thinking about things. You know, like, I'm 34. I'm not romantically involved with anybody at the moment. I don't have kids. I don't have kids. And it kind of rolled around in my mind. And so I consulted YouTube, and I searched for videos of people explaining why they don't have kids. And most of these women, or most of these videos, were uploaded by women, and you know, getting a woman's point of view and perspective on why they choose to not have children. And they have a lot of valid points in their videos. And I mean, these are strong, vibrant, beautiful women who have goals and ambitions, and they feel that having a child would deviate them from their mission in life, to be successful, to be happy, to have a fulfilled life by having a career and keeping to themselves. Because even these women, a lot of these women who upload these videos on why they don't want kids, even they're not, you know, romantically involved. So, I mean, it really is a matter of personal preference, you know. And I have to say to you women who are listening to this, if you've made videos listing reasons why you don't want children, first of all, you don't owe anyone an explanation on what you choose to do with your bodily autonomy, because you are in charge of what goes on with your body. You don't owe anyone an explanation on why you don't want children. And you don't owe anyone an explanation for why you choose to do anything or choose not to do anything. You don't owe an explanation, and the same goes for men. You are under no obligation to explain to anyone why you choose not to have children. But I have to say, after watching the videos and listening to their explanations and their points, there's a lot of just reasons that I wouldn't have ever thought about. But I have to say, you women are just fucking amazing women. You're amazing. It's not so much the fact that you don't want children for the reasons that you've listed, but because you have ambitions and dreams and goals, and you know where you want to be in life. And to me, that's really just, it's amazing. It's awesome. And you women are beautiful, amazing, vibrant women. And I tip my hat off to you. If I had a hat right now, I would tip it to you, and I would tell you how fucking brilliantly amazing you are, because you eloquently and in a sophisticated manner, you list the reasons why you think having a child would be a bad idea. And there are even a few videos where these women say, you know what, I don't want to use my body as an incubator for a fetus, which kind of, leaks over into the discussion about abortion, which I'm not going to unpack in this Daily Rant recording. I've spoken about abortion issues in my Sunday videos. You can go and check those out. But these women know what they want out of life. And for the people who are, and these are family members and friends of these women who are pressuring them into having children. They're saying, well, if you have a kid, your life will improve for the better. Well, let me stop you there for a minute. Let me slow you down right there. Let me stop you in your tracks. There is absolutely zero evidence that having children will improve your life for the better. There is zero evidence of that. Zero. I mean, it's such a wild assertion that, because having children made my life better. Well, so then if what you're saying is having children made your life better, that tells me you had children for selfish reasons. Because if you feel that having a kid was supposed to fulfill that hole in your life, that tells me that you don't have your shit together, and you probably have no business even having a kid if you're going to come up with that excuse, well, having a kid made my life so much better. That's horseshit. Your life has the value that you assign to it. Nobody else or nothing else can make your life meaningful except for you. You have goals and ambitions and dreams that you need to thrive on. Having a kid is not going to change that. There's zero evidence that even points to that having children will make your life better. It's obnoxiously absurd to even make that statement or to make that assertion, to make that claim. It's just wrong. It's invalid. It's an invalid statement. I mean, these women, and the thing about these women is that they have already found their value. They have assigned value to their life. They love the life that they have. They're not romantically involved with anyone. They choose not to have children. And these are women who are in their late 20s, 30s, even their 40s. They say, look, I'm already 30-something years old. My mind is not going to change. I mean, they told me this shit when I was 20. That, one day you might want children, you'll change your mind. And well, if these women don't change their minds, what you need to do, albeit it may be your dreams, but they're not their dreams. So what you need to do, you need to respect a woman's decisions on what she wants to do with her bodily autonomy. If these women, if you're a friend or a family member of a woman who does not want children, and which, by the way, she doesn't owe you a fucking explanation on why she doesn't want children, but if you are one of those family members or friends of these women who are harping on these women to have kids, you need to respect the fact that they don't want kids. They've stated their positions clearly, and you should be mature and responsible enough to be accepting of that and deviate from the subject. Leave it alone. You don't drone on and harp on these women who've already made conscious decisions to not have kids. And you need to stop treating childless like it's a fucking plague. You need to stop with that shit. I can't begin to tell you how many conversations I've had with my mother about having children because I don't have kids. And, I love my mother. Don't, make no mistake about it. But she secretly, she tries to hide it under the radar by labeling it as a joke. Well, I want redheaded grandkids, and I want this and I want that. I've already had this discussion with her many times. If I don't have children, that's my decision. If I have children, that's also my decision. But at this point, I don't want kids. I just don't. And I even mentioned at the beginning of this that, again, with my past medical history, the chances are favorable that I may not be able to have kids anyway, even if I wanted to have children. Even if I got romantically involved with a woman and that one night of passion, didn't result in me impregnating her, that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with that. If she gets pregnant, I'm fine with it. If she's not pregnant, I'm also fine with that. But she, my mother likes to say, well, I'm just joking. Well, it's not a joke because nobody's laughing. I laugh at jokes. This is not a joke. This is you, doing this love bombing shit, pressuring me into something that I may not ever have, or something I just don't want. I'm 34 years old. If I was going to have kids, I would have done it in my late teens and early 20s. I would have been stupid and made stupid mistakes when I was younger. But I'm 34 years old. I'm single. I don't have kids. And I got to tell you, my life is pretty damn good despite all the other bullshit going on in my life. People who are vindictive towards me and rotten. Other than that, my life is pretty good. I mean, I'm lucky enough, I'm fortunate enough to wake up every day. I know that this life is not going to continue on forever, not for me, not for anybody. And it's going to be the greatest release when I die. I'm not afraid of it. And it's the fact that I know I'm going to die someday that makes me look for tomorrow. And I get up out of bed. And I say, okay, what's going to happen today? Either things are going to happen on their own, naturally, or I'm going to take charge of the day and I'm going to make it the best day that I can make it. And I live one day at a time. I live for the moment. I don't think about tomorrow. I don't think about the future, not long term. But I still search for tomorrow. I'm hoping that when I go to sleep tonight, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And really, that's all you can ask for out of life, is that you live a good life. I know that I'm not everybody's favorite at the moment because of some things that I've said, and I'll get to that in a minute. But there are, these women, and men too, there's lots of men who've uploaded videos to their YouTube channels listing valid points and explanations on why they don't want children. There's even couples, people who are actually romantically involved with each other, and they list reasons why they don't want kids in 2020 or whatever year that they recorded the video. And they're very valid reasons. But there's no moral dimension to having kids. Like I said, it's all personal taste, it's personal preference. For me, if it is in fact the case where cancer treatment had obliterated my chances of reproduction, then I don't even have a choice in that matter. I didn't have a choice in having cancer, and I sure as hell I'm not going to have a choice in infertility or fertility or whatever the case may be. Well, for me, if I can't have kids, it would be an infertility issue because my sperm wouldn't be fertile enough to fertilize an egg. So, it's really a matter of personal choice most of the time. But if you have past health issues, then it's really out of your hands, And I know my mom loves me and she wants me to be happy, and I get it. I love my mom to pieces. But she says, oh, I'm just kidding, I'm just joking. No, you're not. It's not a joke. I laugh at jokes, typically, and I don't think it's funny. The pressure of, you're trying to pressure me into something that I might not even get a chance to do, let alone want. I love you, but it's like, you got to kind of lay off on that. I just shrug it off, and it's like, whatever. We've had this discussion, and the fact that you're saying, oh, I'm just kidding, I'm joking. No, you're not kidding and joking, because I'm not laughing. I usually laugh at jokes. But you people who are pressuring these women into having a kid when they don't want kids, you should really lay off. You should really just leave well enough alone, accept the fact that they've already made a conscious decision not to carry a baby or to give birth. The idea of pregnancy terrifies these women. I watched this one video where this woman says, you know what, just the thought of a fetus growing inside of my body, and the fact that I'm going to push it through my vajayjay, that's terrifying to me. Well, and it would be. It would be. I mean, my mother, I was born cesarean. I was born C-section, so they had to cut me out of my mother. And I bet even the thought of a C-section was terrifying to my mother. Because, C-section is serious business. I mean, you have a better chance of dying from a C-section than most anything else. It's really just, you gotta let people make their own decisions. You can't, it's like this too. And you women, I fucking love you women for even saying this statement, which is fucking empowering. I love you women. My ovaries should never be the subject of anybody else's debate. That's what I've heard women say, and it's fucking beautiful. That is a beautiful statement. Kudos to you women. I fucking love you. I treasure and adore you for standing up for yourself like that. And speaking of standing up for myself, now I'm going to kind of talk about some of the things that I discussed in yesterday's Daily Rant about this person who called me mentally retarded. I want to elaborate on that a little further. I want to talk about why I exploded in anger and made some very crass statements about this person who referred to me as mentally retarded. First of all, I don't like the word. I don't like the fact that people are using that as a pejorative to personally belittle or attack someone. I don't like that choice of word, and that only demonstrates a person's ignorance, that they have this prejudice against people with special needs and people who are physically, mentally disabled. It's not really so much because if I'm mentally retarded, it wouldn't have anything to do with physical so much, more the mental. But even still, I'm not mentally retarded. I don't like the fact that anybody, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're famous, I don't care if you're not famous, you don't have a right to use that word. I'm usually someone who doesn't fuss over words, especially, like swearing. But I don't like racial slurs, and I don't like people who use the word retarded as a pejorative. Because, as I stated in yesterday's Daily Rant, I have lots of friends who have afflictions. They have medical complexities that are, affecting every day of their lives. It's affecting every moment of every day of their lives. And the fact of the matter is that her own kid is a child, a cancer survivor, and she's making statements such as, "Oh, you must be mentally fucking retarded," and her mom is denying that. Her mom. This is where we're at now. There is an update to this argument. She's actually pissed off. Her mom is offended because I say the word fuck. She was griping. She was literally griping at me because my dad said the word fuck. She was griping at my mother because my dad and I used the word fuck. What's my mother going to do about it? I'm 34 years old. My mother doesn't influence me. My own dad doesn't even influence me. And I live with him. We're roommates. My parents don't influence anything I do. I'm 34 fucking years old. I make my own choices and my own decisions. And I said a lot of severe things about her daughter. Should I have said some of those things? No, probably not. Probably wasn't the most strategic or wise decision to make. But I said what I said. And I was speaking out of anger and frustration. I was making a point. I was making a statement that I'm going to throw it right back in your face if you're going to be rotten and just disgusting with your use of words. And her mom, who, which is even more frightening, operates a daycare looking after other people's children. I hate to even think. I don't like to jump to conclusions, but I hate to think of what she and her daughter think of the parents of these children? Are you judging them too? Your kid has a big mouth, and you're running a daycare. And by what I understand, her daughter took over the daycare. Well, that's even worse, because now you are calling people mentally retarded as a pejorative, and you run a daycare? Obnoxious. You people are in no position to be caring for anyone's children, not even your own, because you're ignorant. And I stand by everything I said yesterday. I'm not taking any of it back. I absolutely stand by what I said. Name calling and all. Payback is a bitch, isn't it? And shortly before I started this recording, I've been getting phone calls, and I just ignore them because I have no use to speak to anybody who wants to, make veiled threats, and they want to sound like tough guys on the phone. I have no interest. Just leave me alone. If I wish to not speak to you anymore, just leave me the fuck alone. Oh, which, of course, by the way, you're doing exactly the very thing that you're, shaming me for. Trying to talk to people who don't want to be spoken to. You're doing the exact same fucking thing. It's no different. If I'm avoiding you, if I choose not to speak to you anymore, just leave it as that. Okay? Everybody's telling me, well, if they don't want to talk to you anymore, just leave them alone. Okay, I don't want to speak to those people, so they need to leave me the fuck alone. It goes both ways. Okay? Two can play this game. I'm not interested in arguing with people. I'm not interested in fighting with people. But yesterday, I blew a fucking gasket because like I said, I don't care who you are or what you think you are. You never use the word, you don't use that word as a pejorative to attack. And you're making very broad statements. You're putting your foot in your mouth by suggesting that people who get SSI and Social Security are mentally retarded. That is a very broad statement. I hope your parents don't get Social Security. And the fact of the matter, they were bitching, or actually her mom, not so much her, but her mom was complaining in an email, in the altercation we had in email. She was literally complaining because, well, I don't know how you get a check because my grandson can't get a check and blah, 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 blah. So if he did get a check, does that mean his own mother would be calling him mentally retarded too? You gotta be careful on how you put this. I mean, it's a very sweeping statement. I mean, how do you say something like that to anybody? I don't care who you are or who you think you are. It's a very sweeping statement to make about everybody who gets SSI or Social Security. It's nobody's business why anybody gets SSI or Social Security. A person's living arrangements is nobody else's business. I don't nose my way into everybody's business. They don't need to nose their way into my business. I don't ask them what they do for work or what it is, I don't ask them questions because I don't care what they do for work. I only care about the way people treat me. I get SSI, you get SSI, it's not a big deal. But it's the fact of the matter that it has nothing to do with even getting a check, really. It's the fact that you make a statement like that. You're using the special needs label, which I think is antiquated. I don't think people use the word retarded anymore to describe a person who is mentally handicapped. I don't think we use that word anymore. But it's the fact that she did, Kara from WV, she used this word as and I'm supposed to take offense to her calling. It's not the fact that she called me a name. It's just like I stated yesterday that I've been called every name in the book. I'm not bothered by it. Sticks and stones, right? I don't care. Call me whatever you want to call me. It doesn't matter. There's very little in this world that offends me. Very little that offends me. But I was very heated yesterday. No one has a right to use that word, retarded, as a pejorative to attack and belittle, and then her mother wants to, I don't know, she has this crazy, preposterous delusion of her kid, that her kid is so perfect, she's a goody two-shoes, my kids are amazing, they don't use words like that. You're living in a fucking dream world, honey. Your kids do use words like that, and I've got screenshots of text messages that your daughter has sent to me with the word fuck included in it. Would you like to see it? I got it. It's really that absurd. I mean, her mom was contacting my mother. Oh, I just don't care for the language that Jared's using in his videos. Well, you know what? First of all, there's a couple of points about that. First of all, your kid swears, and don't tell me she doesn't, because I got the evidence, I got the proof. Secondly, no one's making you watch my fucking videos. No one's making you come to my channel. No one's twisting your fucking arm and saying, you gotta watch this, you gotta listen to this. No, you don't. You actually don't. The fact that you keep coming back here, that, you know what that tells me? All that tells me is that I make very clear and valid points, even if I do blow up in anger and I just rip into somebody on a recording here. That only tells me that what I'm saying has truth to it, and you can't handle that. You have a very difficult time accepting what is objective, because you're so subjective that you can't see the bigger picture. I mean, she emailed me again yesterday. Oh, your name calling is very immature. The world doesn't revolve around you. Well, you know what? The world doesn't fucking revolve around you either, Grandma. And it doesn't revolve around your daughter. And if you want to talk about immature name calling, if it's shallow, then have a discussion with your kid about using pejoratives like mentally fucking retarded. Maybe you should sit down and have that talk with her. And like I said, I stand by everything I said yesterday. I take nothing back. I'm not retracting any statements I've made, because people get what they deserve. If they're going to come at me, I had this discussion with another very sweet friend of mine. Her grandson died. He had cancer. And I told her, I said, I have turned the corner on fucks to give. I said, I'm at that point now where I just don't care. I don't care. And, you know, it's a very dangerous position to be in when a person finally reaches a point where they no longer give a shit. That's a very dangerous position to be in. Now, like I said, I made lots of crass statements about this particular person yesterday. It's not, it's not anything against all women, but this particular woman, she deserved everything she had coming to her. I dished out a little payback, something I should have did right from the fucking very beginning, instead of biting my tongue and taking shit from people that I didn't deserve to take that shit from them. People look at me now as this mean, evil, disgusting person, like I pointed out yesterday. That's how people view me now. Most people. But most people don't matter. Only the people who know me for me, and they love me for me, and they know what I'm getting at, and they know that if I do lash out in anger like that, it's because it's a result of the way that I'm being treated. I don't normally randomly just go off on a tangent about a particular individual. It's how they treat me. It's how they treat other people. It's their behavior. It's their behavior that I attack. Yeah, I make the name calling. They've called me names. I can't begin to tell you how many times I've been called names, and I've had all kinds of pejoratives thrown at me. But I'm still standing. I'm still here. Like I said, they're just words. They're sticks and stones, right? Sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And they don't. They have no effect. It had taken me a good many years to come to that, but because I used to take everything to heart, because I'm a very loving, caring person. And the people who are really my friends, they know this. So anytime I lash out in anger, it's because someone has really severely ticked me off. And I have a right to say what I want to say. Now, I made statements about this particular individual yesterday that, she was a whore, hooker, whatever. It's not. It's most likely not true. Okay? I don't have evidence to even prove that that is the case, but I was making a point. I was making a point about people who like to make shit up about other people and then pass it on as if it is true, and they convince people that it is true without proof. That was the point that I tried to make. And I tried to make that point from several different angles. I don't want anyone thinking that this particular individual is actually a hooker. I don't think she is. I think she's actually smarter than that. And, I think she just needs to modify her behavior and what she says to people. Calling someone mentally retarded because they get a check. First of all, again, the cheap shot, you can look at that as a cheap shot at me. It doesn't affect me. I'm not bothered by it. But it's mainly the fact that because I have friends who have medical complexities regarding mental health, both mental and physical, but the main focus is mental. Being mentally handicapped is not a crime. It's not a bad, it's something that needs worked on because it is in fact a health issue. Like my friend who has Down syndrome. He's not a bad person because he has Down syndrome, and we cannot shame him for having that medical complexity. No one should be shaming anyone for mental health issues or being mentally or physically disabled. No one has a right to shame you for having disabilities. And the even more frightening thing about this whole situation with these people that I'm talking about, is the fact that they operate a daycare center. That's very alarming to me now. Very alarming. Anybody who's going to use this kind of language has no position to be the steward of anybody else's children, including their own. It's ignorance. Which only proves my point that having children does not improve your fucking life. Because if it improved your life, you would modify your behavior and change the way you speak to people. You would think more logically and rationally and critically. The placebo effect. Having kids should make you smarter, not dumber. If we're going to assume that having children adds benefit to your life, then we should automatically assume that the placebo effect is going to kick in and that you're actually going to be smarter and more wiser and more logical and more, careful on what you say and how you wish to proceed with people. The arrogance and the self-righteousness and the delusions and the narcissism is preposterous beyond measure. And if, I know, like I said, I said a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have said yesterday, but I stand by it. Because I was making a point. I was making a point. Don't come at me acting the way you are, thinking I'm not going to have something to say about it in response, because I'm telling you it's not going to be pretty. You're either going to get the good side of Jer Bear or you're going to get the not so good side of Jer Bear. And yesterday she walked into a fucking beehive, because I'm not going to just sit here and put up with this shit. And that goes for anybody who's listening to this. I don't care who you are. I don't care. I want 2021 to be a good year, and I want to proceed forward in knowing that it's going to be a good year. But that's going to have to begin by blocking out all these people who've given me shit over the years. People who've given me so much grief. I have had it with these fucking people. I have had it. And I shouldn't have to put up with it. And it's exactly what I told my mother in a text message, because my mother texted me this morning and said, well, because she was telling me what her mom had messaged her on Facebook. She's more upset at the fact that I use the word fuck. It's just like the situation with Brandon Lambert. You know, we were friends on Facebook. His son Mateo runs in these races and raises money for, you know, charities and causes and things, which is okay, fine, whatever, it's cool. But Brandon Lambert is the same fucking way. He made a big fuss over me using the word fuck in a Facebook post. And the point that I tried to make to him, and it wasn't an attack on anybody, but the point that I tried to make to Brandon was that if you're going to be upset, why are you upset with me using the word fuck, but Tom Mitchell, who you idolize, also uses the word fuck in his post, and you don't seem to be bothered by that? What's the explanation behind that? What's the logic? I'm dying to know what the logic is behind that. Is that special pleading? Like he's God? And we're not allowed to be upset with him because that would be like blasphemy? This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Even when I try to get people to understand what's logical or what's rational, and I'm being perfectly logical and rational by making that point. But he takes it as a personal attack. Yes, because you don't have the intellectual wisdom to understand or to even acknowledge when someone is trying to make a rational point and they're trying to present logic to you. You don't recognize that because it goes against your bias of what you've already got about me and what you have of Tom. It wasn't a personal attack or a pejorative against Tom Mitchell. I was making a point. That's it. That's all I was saying. But now, because I use the word fuck, I'm the monster that hides under your kids' beds. I mean, it's really that silly. It's that preposterous. And it's why I don't like to drone on and entertain this and drag this out so much, because it's you gotta let you gotta let sleeping dogs lie, and you just gotta let some things go, and I'm trying to. But I also want for people to understand logic and critical thinking and rational discourse. I want people to understand what's really and truly going on. And yeah, I blew up. I said a lot of things yesterday that I didn't think I could ever publicly say. But I'm telling you, I have turned the corner. I'm just done with people. I just don't tolerate it anymore. I don't put up with people who want to treat me like shit. You know? And that's it. I mean, I've gone on record as saying that the childhood cancer world is toxic and it's trash and it's garbage. It's because of these particular people. I'm not saying that about all the people. There's, like I said, if I was saying that about all the people in the childhood cancer demographic, I would also be talking about the fucking friends that I still have from the childhood cancer demographic. So clearly, I'm not talking about the entire childhood cancer demographic. I mean, it's like, wow. Why can't you people just stop and think? Stop and think about things for a minute. You know, they don't think. That's the trouble. They don't think. They just act or react. They don't think. And I can't help them. At that point, these people are helpless. I've even extended the olive branch and said, you know what? I would like to bury the hatchet. I would like to not fight with people anymore. I would like to go into 2021 being happy and healthy and less depressed, less stressed, less anxious. I would like to go into the new year just being happy. If you want to be friends with me, that's great. If there's a chance, even the smallest chance, that we can repair a broken friendship, then you know, let's try to repair that friendship. But if you're just gonna contact me to make veiled threats and you know, if you're just going to be facetious when you contact me, and you honestly and truly don't want to have a conversation, you don't want to, you know, you don't want to bury the hatchet, and you don't want to smooth things over, then your best bet would be to just leave me the fuck alone, because I'm not interested in engaging in a conversation with you. You're clearly too immature to talk to at that point. I just want this to be over, and I want you people to just leave me alone. But I also have to say that my haters actually empower me more, because every time you thumbs down one of my videos, YouTube loves that shit. Because what it is, it's still an interaction. Regardless if you thumb the video down or if you thumb it up, it's still an interaction, and the algorithms, that's what YouTube loves. YouTube loves the algorithms of the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Regardless of how you rate my video, it's still an interaction. So to my haters who are listening to this, thank you. Thank you for giving me the light of day, because obviously you don't have a life. No one's twisting your arm and making you come back to my channel to see, oh, what else does Jared Fuller have to say? No one's making you come back here. I'm not making you come back here. You can choose to not listen to what I have to say and go about your life, or you can choose on your own accord to keep showing up on my channel again, because I'm going to say something that's going to perpetually offend you, right? You stay perpetually offended, so that way you can make yourself look bigger as a result of perpetual offense. You clearly have no life. There's something not right in your fucking head, like all the screws aren't tightened up there. And that's not a cheap shot against people with mental health issues. It's a cheap shot about your ignorance and your inability to reason. Your inability to arrive at conclusions logically and critically. And that's all I'm saying. You have evidence that I tore into someone. I verbally eviscerated a person by calling them names, and you know, no different than what you people are doing to me every fucking day. You're probably doing it now on Facebook. And I just don't see it because I'm not on Facebook. My dad's not on Facebook anymore. It's just, there's just no reason why people should behave the way they do. Especially when it comes to, well, you know, I read something on Facebook. Must be true, I'm going to run with it. Without actually knowing if it's true or if it's not true, you're still going to assume that it is, which is just, it's ignorance. That's not how we go about determining what's true and what's not. You're not sure about what's true and what really isn't, so you're just going to make an assumption that it is. And I'm sorry that your brain can't think outside the box. I'm sorry that you have a brain that is incapable of distinguishing between subject and object in terms of what we know to be true versus what you feel is true. Your brain can't separate the two. You can't distinguish between subjective and objective, and what I'm shooting for is the objective. You know, and the thing is if you're not interested in having civil conversations and rational conversations, then I'm not going to pay you another iota, another second of time, because it's just pointless at that moment. I've reached a conclusion where now this conversation is over because we're not getting anywhere. And I'm just going to walk away. I'm going to walk out of the conversation. You know, it's really come down to that, though. It's really a shame. It's really a shame that people can't. They know better, they just don't act better. You know? And the fact that her mom is, I mean, she's just delusional. She's making excuses and defending her kid and denying the fact that her kid is no perfect little fucking angel. She's in denial of that. Well, you know what? She is a perfect little angel. No, she's not. Sorry. Hate to burst your fucking bubble, Grandma, but she is not perfect. Far from it. You have this weird delusion. You know, all parents think that their children are perfect. All parents do. My mom and dad even one time said, well, our kids are perfect. No. We're not perfect. And I think what they meant by that, not so much the fact that we never do wrong, that we never make mistakes, but in their eyes, we were perfect enough for them. That they loved us and they brought us into the world. That's what they meant. They know that we're not perfect in terms of, you know, I mean, we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. That's inevitable. You can't escape that. Everybody makes mistakes. But when someone is actually being arrogant, and they foster that arrogance with pejoratives such as calling someone mentally retarded, and then her mother is going to defend her kid and deny the fact that her kid would even say that, is dishonest. And I told her, I'm blocking your email, don't fucking text me, don't email me anymore, leave me the fuck alone. Period. And that's it. I don't want to hear from you anymore, I don't want to speak to you anymore. You people need to go the fuck away and leave me alone. And that's what I said in the email. Oh yes, I used the word fuck again. I don't care. You know? Life is too short, and I have this one life to live. We all have this one particular life to live, and I choose to live my life. I live a little dangerously. I enjoy going out having fun. I love going on joyrides. I love hanging with friends when I see my friends. But really and truly, I'm a popular loner. Everybody knows this. But I'm not interested in dealing with these people anymore. I just want them to leave me alone, so I can get on with my life. And the only reason I keep mentioning this or talking about them or the situation is because they don't stop. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're on these social media sites trying to make Jared Fuller sound like a bad guy. Well, you can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You know? Say whatever you damn well please, because I know who I am and what I am, and the people who are really and truly my friends, they also know who and what I am. I can be the nicest, sweetest person you've ever met in your life, or if you cross me the wrong way especially by saying shit like this, saying, well, you know, you get the check because you're mentally fucking retarded. When you cross that line, then it's on. Then I'm not so nice. I don't play nice. And I'm especially not going to play nice when people are using that as a pejorative, as if to say that people with special needs and mental health complexities are somehow not good enough for the earth, for the world. That to me is fucking atrocious. I'm not going to let people get away with that. No way. I even had this discussion with a friend of mine who lives, actually she's in her 20s and she's fighting cancer. She actually lives not far from my mom. I'm not going to give her name, but the thing is that we've had that discussion yesterday too. She says, I hate that fucking word. I hate it when people use the word retard as a way to verbally attack somebody. That they use that as a name call, you know. And we agreed on a lot of different issues. We always agree on a lot of things. Even when we don't agree on everything, we're still the best of friends. You know, we're still the best of friends. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. You should be able to have a disagreement on something and still get along and be friends and still want what's best for each other and for the world. Now, I know that yesterday wasn't the best shining example of me being a sweet person because I went off on that person, but again, like I said, you're either going to get the good side of me or you're going to get the bad side. And if you're going to provoke that bad side by calling me, or by using that, the calling me that is not so much the thing that upsets me, it's the fact that you would use that word as a way to belittle, because I have friends who have, they are special needs and they do have medical complexities. And for you to use that as a pejorative really just irritates and frustrates me to no end. And the payback that I dished out to you yesterday, you deserved every fucking bit of it. And you're asking me if I'm going to retract my statements? The answer is a big fat no. I stand by everything I said. Now you can go and cry and pout about it to your mommy. I don't care. But maybe you should actually watch what the fuck you say and how you and the words that you use. Even if you called me the N-word, I would have said the same thing. Because I don't know. I mean, you stated in a text message that you get nervous when around black guys, or when a black person approaches you, walking down the street and they're walking behind you and you get nervous. I mean, that sounds a bit racist to me. If you would have called me the N-word, then I would have gone off on you even then. You're talking about, I mean, it's like I said, it's a word we probably don't even use anymore. It's an old way of describing a person with special needs or mental health issues. People who are slow and people who they have medical problems. And these problems are usually, like mentally handicapped. Like there's debilitating issues going on, debilitating diseases and such. I can't get over that hurdle. The fact that someone who I thought was reasonable and friendly, and someone who I thought was a shining friend, a shining example of what a true friend should be, would actually come at me like this and use the pejorative retarded. And I'm going to make a big deal about it. Although I've gone on record saying, words are just words, they don't affect me. They don't, if you're going to, in terms of making a personal attack against me, it doesn't affect me. But the fact that you are using that as a way to belittle, you're making it not only sound as if people with special needs and mentally handicapped people are bad people or they don't belong on the earth, but you're also making a sweeping statement about people who get people who are on fixed incomes. You don't know a person's situation, and you're going to judge them. I mean, again, you're going to judge people, severely judge people, and the fact that you're stewards of other people's children, that's very fucking alarming to me. I don't know how you would even manage to get your license to operate a daycare, knowing that you're behaving this way. I should make some phone calls to the West Virginia Better Business Bureau and report your sorry ass for the way you talk to me. I bet you anything there's a lot of reports, not so nice reports about that particular daycare. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't have evidence of any of that. But I'm skeptical. But I'm skeptical not so much to the point where I'm cynical. I'm skeptical in the way that I say, I don't believe this to be true, but I don't yet see this to be the case. But you know what? Let's keep looking. Let's continue our exploration to find the answer, to find out what's true and what isn't. These people who I'm speaking about and this particular person, they don't have the capability to understand how that works. Because they don't think logically, they don't think critically, they just don't fucking think. They don't think. You know, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to say anything more. I'm not going to say anything degrading about her in this recording. I took care of that yesterday. I'm not. I don't like to talk about people like that. I don't like to make statements that are severe about anybody. I don't. But some people, when they want to, I mean, they don't conceal their ignorance. And I don't have an issue putting them out on. I don't have an issue putting them on Front Street. In terms of, you know what, you're going to talk to me like this, I'm going to fucking let the world know the kind of disgusting pig you are. And that's the end of it. Even if, you know, I'm gonna even go a step further and say this. I have lots of black friends. If someone actually made a comment about one of my black friends, like a racial slur or anything that was a pejorative in nature, oh yeah, I'm gonna put you on public fucking blast. Absolutely. You don't talk about my friends, and you just don't make statements like that in general. But on the same side of that coin, it's actually good that people show their ignorance, because now I know who to avoid. You know, I'm glad that Kara from WV actually said what she said, because that just tells me the kind of person she is, and now I don't have to deal with her anymore. But I was not going to let her off the hook for using that as a pejorative. Oh, if you didn't listen to yesterday's daily rant, my advice to you is, if you have kids, make them leave the room. I went off yesterday. And like I said, I don't enjoy saying hurtful things about anybody, because I've had it done to me enough times. But I have reached a point, because of that, because I've had it done to me enough times, I have finally and officially reached that point where I am out of fucks to give, and I'm just going to let you have it. Verbally. And, you know, it's not the kind of person I am. I'm not a mean person. But some people really and truly deserve to be called out for their ignorance. Some people deserve the payback that they have dished at them. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. There's a lot of bullshit going on in this world. And, you know, anytime there's children involved, you know, like with the child at cancer calls, anytime there's children involved, you're going to get a lot of touchy people. People who are high-strung, people who are just, they're gullible and they're feeble enough to believe something without actually knowing the truth of it. That's the world I live in. It's scary. There's people who, there's evidence for something, they call it a conspiracy theory, but when there's no evidence for something, they want to presume that it's true. We should never, I mean, it's backwards. We should never assume that something is true without evidence, and we should not assume that something that is true is just a conspiracy. Especially when the evidence is very fucking strong that you can't deny it. It's there. I wish I don't tell people what to think. I'm trying to tell people how to think. If you think more rationally and critically about things, you're going to be better off. You know? And that's really all I have to say about a lot of this shit. I just want it to be done. I want for these people to leave me alone. I want for people to stop calling me and making the veiled threats and, oh, if you don't stop this, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to subpoena you into court and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then I guess I'll see you in court. You know? Whatever. I mean, they want me, they want to instill fear into me. They want to bully me into silence, and it's just not going to work. Like I said, I've turned the fucking corner on fucks to give. I'm bankrupt on that. So, anyway, I've been here for over an hour. I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good day. Have a good weekend coming up. We're getting closer to Christmas, and I'm not too thrilled about it. I kind of outlined that as well. But anyway, in closing, again, I wanted to go back to the previous subject that I discussed here. Women who don't want kids is something that you need to respect. Women, and if you're one of those women listening to this, and you're you made the video and you came out and listed your reasons, which, by the way, you don't owe anyone an explanation for anything you do, for any choice you make. You don't owe anyone a fucking explanation. I don't care who it is. I applaud you, I salute you, and I fucking love you. You're amazing women. Stay on that path. Stay on that track. Do what you think you need to do to live the best life you can. I encourage it all the way 100%. And that's it for this edition of the Daily Rant, guys. I'm going to try to get some more random content uploaded to this channel very soon. I love you all. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Toodaloo!